NBC refusing to pay writers on strike, but the host jumped in to save the day, temporarily, but it's something, right? Before the WGA writer's strike occurred, Tonight Show host Jimmy Fallon told Variety that he fully supported his writers. Listen.
I wouldn't have a show if it wasn't for my writers, and I support them all the way. They got to have a fair contract, and they got a lot of stuff to iron out, and hopefully they get it done.
If there is a strike, do you go dark?
If there's a strike, yeah, I think we will. Yeah, I think we'll go dark. Whatever I can do to support the guild. I am actually in the Writers Guild as well, so yeah, I couldn't do the show without them, and I support my whole staff.
He's very lovable, this Jimmy Fallon. Very lovable. In that clip, though, it kind of seemed like he was just kind of making it up, figuring it out as he went along. And that could be the case because Sarah Kobos, senior photo research coordinator on Jimmy's talk show, ripped him on Tuesday. I mean, she went in. She did it on Twitter as the writer's strike was just underway. It was not good. You can see it right here at a meeting Jimmy wasn't even at. We are told NBC decided to stop paying us after this week and end our health insurance after this month if the strike is ongoing. They won't even tell us if we will technically be furloughed, just active employees who aren't paid. However, this morning, she is back on social media, posting good news regarding Jimmy Fallon and the Tonight Show staff. Sarah says here, I have a very good update. We ended up having our production meeting this morning, too, and Jimmy Fallon was there. He got NBC to give us a second week of pay, and he will be paying us himself for a third week. We also are going to have health care extended through September. Solidarity. Okay? So quick turnaround, just like that. They'll be paid for some time. She would tweet that Seth Meyers would cover his staff as well, and she would retweet a video of former Jay Leno passing out donuts to WGA members on the picket line. You can always count on Jay, right? Former Tonight Show host. There he is, right there. Meanwhile, comedian Adam Conover appeared on CNN on Tuesday, and you're going to want to really drink this in, tore into its chief executive officer, David Zaslav, over his astronomical compensation.
In this industry that say, look, times are changing. We are not making as much money as we once did. This is not the golden era of television, although some of us would argue the shows are great. What do you say to them?
So I'd point out the fact that David Zaslav, the CEO of Warner Brothers Discovery, which is, the parent company of the network I'm talking to you on right now, was paid $250 million last year, $250 million. That's about the same level as what 10,000 writers are asking him to pay all of us collectively, all right? So I would say if you're being paid $250 million, Ted Sarandos made about $50 million last year. These companies are making enormous amounts of money. Their profits are going up. It's ridiculous for them to plead poverty when the writers who are making their shows, some of them are not able to pay their rent or their mortgages. I literally know writers who have had to go on assistance because they have not been able to make their year. If you look at these companies, they're making more money than ever. It's the people who make the shows for them that are making less.
Okay, now if I'm Sarah Seidner, I would have just left. He's on a solo shot. I'm out of there. Had to go to the bathroom, an emergency, something. But I'm not staying to respond to that. But that was beautiful. So what shows are affected by this strike? The most immediate impact of the strike will be seen in those late night shows, which are written daily to pivot off current events. Late Show CBS, Jimmy Kimmel Live, ABC, The Tonight Show, NBC, Late Night on NBC, and Comedy Central's The Daily Show have stopped production. Plan to run repeats for the foreseeable future. It's less certain how daytime talk shows would be affected as they lean more into host chats and interviews. ABC's The View uninterrupted during the last strike in the 2007-2008 season. That's the reporting from CBS News. Now, when it comes to scripted dramas or comedies, it would actually be quite a while before a normal viewer would see a difference. Alex Weprin, media and business writer at The Hollywood Reporter, telling CBS News, there are a lot of episodes that have already been shot They're banked for later use. There are also some scripts that have already been written for some of these shows. The menus: Netflix, Amazon Prime. They will look no different next week, but they could change months down the line. The AP noted, if a strike lasts through the summer, full schedules for scripted shows and films could be upended. With the walkout long anticipated, many studios rush to finish projects and create a backlog to have enough content for the short term. Netflix has said it could turn to overseas series to fill some of the void during a strike. We've got ourselves ready. We've had a lot of content that's been produced. David Zaslav, $250 million. Chief executive of Warner Bros. Discovery said last month, so he's prepared. Other guilds up for negotiation. Brace yourself, folks. It could get worse. Contracts for two other major unions, the Directors Guild of America, SAG-AFTRA, which represents actors, expire in June. Both negotiations are likely to focus on similar issues around the business model of streaming. Reporting from the AP. DGA is set to begin negotiations with the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers May 10. So, Ben, a lot is going on. This is your wheelhouse. You would think that if just like that, these night shows that we love and are just staples in American homes and really all over the globe go dark because the writers say, yeah, we're not coming in today, that they would have more leverage and this could have been avoided.
You would think so, but those in power always doubt the importance and the collective strength of the workers, and they just would rather the shred of hope that they will be able to maintain their astronomical profits over doing what's right, humane, and just common decency. And they know they're going to, in the end, lose. These strikes always end because eventually, and I think the one in 2007 was like 100 days. The one before that was 130 days, many years before that. And eventually they acquiesce and they just lose profits of all the time that those shows could have been on the air. And so it ends up hurting those in power more. You know, the focus of these stories always seems to be on how will this affect people's TV viewing? Oh, no. And in the fall, maybe if it continues that long, there won't be the same number of shows for people to waste their time on or to let their time be entertained by. That's not the issue. The issue is fairness. Doesn't matter the industry, if it's teachers, if it's rail workers, if it's screenwriters, TV and film writers. People need to be paid a fair, reasonable, even generous, dare I say, wage that they can exist on. You know, I was briefly a provisional member of the WGA back when I wrote the Radio Music Awards in 2001. I am a very active and current member of SAG-AFTRA. I have fought to make my productions union productions. When I was offered my game show Idiot Test, I refused to accept the contract unless they made it a union show for on-screen talent, and was successful in that. And that was a big pillar of my campaign when I ran for office. You have to be able to believe in the power of unions. It's the only power that people have against those in power. You know, Conover made an interesting point, but and I love him. He's so great, and Adam ruins everything. But he also like slightly underphrased something. There's about 11,000 and some change writers that if Zaslav, the CEO of Warner Discovery, that's not just the writers under him. That's all of the writers who are striking. If he reduced his salary, just for example, from $250 million to just 20 million, let's say, still an incredible amount of money. That $230 million remaining could give an additional $23,000 to every writer in Hollywood striking. They would be good then. They would be having their needs met, and this guy would still be making $20 million a year. And that's just one CEO, not all of them. If they all chipped in and reduced their salaries a reasonable amount, they would be all good. But they won't do that. They're going to take it from other places. The demands are so reasonable. The writers are asking for 2% of profits to go to the people who create the worlds, who write the words that come out of the mouths of the people that you love so much, who, all respect to actors, I'm an actor myself, they just say what other people invented. It's not as important as the writers who create the world, and yet they say no. They say, please promise you'll never use AI to write scripts. Keep actual humans writing shows for humans. They say, hell no. Well, the strike happens, and we'll see what happens after that.
So the laughter stops late night, And listen, I think the comedians are fearless. I love what Adam Conover did on CNN's airwaves, because I think that, comedians get real not funny when you push them too far and start messing with their money. And I find that to be leadership. And you're right. Things are so far out of whack and so far off balance that you leave us no choice, is what the writers are really saying, right, Ben? That
yeah,
hey.
Just look how unfunny I was right there, Sharon. That is all the proof you need. And the SAG contracts, I know you're going to cover that, and the DGA contract, the Directors Guild are going to be up, Screen Actors Guild and Directors, in June, and we may have to strike as well. And we'll do that. Luckily for me, that won't affect my bottom line too much because I don't get that much work as an actor. So I'll be happy to strike. It won't really affect my bottom line, but it does affect the bottom line of struggling actors out there everywhere. And you're right. Thank Jay Leno for being out there passing out donuts. The man has gone through 2 serious accidents recently. He's like an X-Man at this point. He regenerates his bones, his skin. It's incredible. I don't know how he even holds a box of donuts. Hey, you go. Here's a little donut and solidarity with you. A good guy.
You're just missing the chin. Other than that, it sounded just like him. It really did.
Thank you, Sharon.
I know. And then little cars. He had all those little cars. I ran into him in Hollywood one time. You said this will end.
Good man.
He's a good guy, right?
He sent me a video for my birthday last year. He's just an incredible guy, so I could show it on a virtual show I did. He's a very nice man.
Yeah, he is. And you can tell he loves this work. And a lot of people love this work, and they're just asking for fairness. You said this is going to end and things will start moving again. But how long do you think it's going to take?
It's a tough one. I was talking to some people in the industry about this the last couple of days, and some think that this might be the time that the powers that be don't acquiesce, because now it's the streamers, and the streamers are basically mostly owned by these huge conglomerates that the streaming business isn't even their whole business, like Apple, like Amazon. And the fact that, Amazon is a union busting, doesn't let their workers form unions, fight it whenever they can, and people still don't cancel, myself included, their Prime subscriptions and all of these things. And so they might stick this time longer and say, listen, we might go anti-union, we might hire all non-union writers, we might go all AI. I mean, go for it. I think you're going to lose the talent of what makes this industry great, and the golden age of television will end, full stop. So roll the dice if you feel like it, but it won't work out well for the powers that be.
Wow. I got a question for you, because I know, and I want to talk more about your show. You're so funny because it's coming up, and I know you have a special dedication for it. But do you find that your shows are more packed at times like this? If people can't get the content they want at home, do they seek out people like you, comedians?
I think that has happened in the past. I remember during the last writer's strike, I think it was good for comedy clubs, and that's fine. People do need to find their entertainment fix wherever they can. This is a stressful world, and people do need escapes from it. And that's fine if those dollars go from the TV networks and passive viewing to more interactive comedy club viewing, or virtual comedy clubs like Nowhere Comedy Club that I created and run. So be it. People are going to find out other things. Yeah, there you saw the flyer on screen. It's this Saturday. I'll tell you a little bit more about it later. But that's fine. But it's just getting to a point where it's too frustrating for the common worker, and a writer is a common worker. They don't get paid incredible money most of the time, and they get skimped on, and they even don't get called writers on a lot of shows, so they can go around being called a writer. They call them a story producer so that they don't have to pay them writers' wages. The industry tries whenever possible to skim and scam, and it's good when we get to stand up and say no more of that and demand higher standards.
Matt is not going to take it anymore. And I do think you're onto something too with just everyday people who don't realize it. We hear the word Hollywood and this glamorous life, and you're writing for these shows and you're producing and doing these things, and we just think everybody's rich, and it's not the case.
Oh, that couldn't be further from the truth, because I used to think that everybody thinks, oh, you're on TV, you're rich. I've done over 400 episodes of television, and I get excited for every $100 gig I'm offered. So that tells you the amount of money that you get paid in this business.
Got to do better. We will keep following the story and hope that everybody is able to make rent and achieve the end game here.